AI is changing so much so quickly that, my eyes just glaze over. I went and got my $65 sign, put it in the yard, and within 3 weeks had a buyer and had made $3,500. So I have nothing at risk. I think lease options are probably the easiest way to get in real estate. In my opinion, way easier than wholesaling. We have zero competition. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, here in Tarrant County. This is where I focus. I have no competition.
Well, welcome back, folks, to another episode of Stellar Minds, the show where we dive deep into the real story behind today's most driven entrepreneurs, not just the wins, but the journey that get them there. And today I have an amazing guest, Mr. John Jackson, a 22-year real estate veteran who teaches and coaches people how to acquire properties with little or no money down using lease options. This is going to be a value-packed show. John, welcome to Stellar Minds.
Hey, Thomas. Yeah, glad we could connect. Looking forward to sharing my story and some great information with the audience.
Well, someone who's been in the game since '08, and beyond, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of value on your journey through the crazy real estate landscape that has become what it is all the way up to today. So I think our audience is really going to want to hear what you have to say and hopefully connect with you. And if they're not already doing it, use lease options as a new way to help homeowners and acquire properties. So I always like to kind of rewind the clock, John, instead of just jumping in. I want to learn a little bit about, your origins. What were you doing before you got in real estate, and what kind of inspired you to get into the real estate industry today?
Yeah, so I was a day trader. I was a stay-at-home dad. I was a day trader from 2000 to sometime in 2003, and one of the ways I was making money is selling covered calls. So I knew. So in other words, I was trading options. And so I wanted to get into real estate, and I was looking at this or that. I was looking at rentals. I had a friend that had a couple of rentals. He was making like $150 a month each, and I thought, well, you can't live on that.
Hmm.
And so in '03, I saw I saw Robert Allen and Mark Victor Hansen on TV promoting their new book, The 1 Minute Millionaire. And they did a phenomenal job of promoting it. And so I went out, that day or the next day and got that book, and it changed my life. It's a phenomenal book for even for teenagers to read because it's actually two books in one. It was a phenomenal book, and I was like, okay, that's it. I'm doing real estate. So then I really started diving into real estate, which in '03, the internet was just a baby, so there wasn't a whole lot out there, and but every now and then I'd read a blurb about lease options. Well, that's stuck out because I was trading options. So that seems like an easy
Hmm.
segue. But at the time, lease options were touted as a way to rip people off and take advantage of people.
Hmm.
And I didn't like that. And I thought, but if you structured it right and put the right pieces in place, you could have a lease option business that would help sellers that couldn't sell and buyers that couldn't buy. So that's where my company Leasing to Buy started, was in '03. And in my very first deal, I was trying to learn about lease options. There wasn't much out there at the time, and but I went and paid $65 for a yard sign. I bought the domain leasingtobuy.com. It's the ugliest damn sign you've ever seen, but I knew when I got that first house, I'd be ready. And within a few weeks or so, I found my first house. I was driving for dollars. I didn't know there was a term for it. I was just driving around listening to '80s rock bands, and but saw this for sale by
Yeah.
owner sign, called him up, and I could tell it was vacant, and asked if he'd want to do a lease option. And he said, sure. So I went and got my $65 sign, put it in the yard, and within 3 weeks had a buyer and had made $3,500, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in '03, making that kind of money by putting a sign in the yard, it was
Hmm.
so easy that I still remember laying in bed that night, feeling guilty, feeling like I've done something wrong. This was too easy. I've done
Hmm.
something wrong. But then a couple weeks later, I got another house, driving for dollars. It was a Homevester franchisee that owned
Hmm.
that house and they had their sign in the yard. So I called them. They said, yeah, we'll do a lease option. So I lease optioned that house. Then they started sending me more houses. Then they told other franchisees about me. And so now I'm doing all these houses for Homevestors. And
And for
then,
those that don't know, that's the We Buy Ugly Houses
yeah,
franchise.
the We Buy Ugly Houses franchise. And then sometime around, I don't know, oh 04, oh 05, I don't remember, probably oh 04, I wanted more inventory. And I thought, how can I find people that want to sell? And it finally dawned on me, oh, I know how to find people that want to sell. I just got to find the people that are already trying to sell their house. So that's where direct mail started for me. And boy, it's so antiquated back then. We didn't have all the stuff we do now. I was printing letters off my printer, and having to go to, I think realtor.com was around by then. And I would go get all these listings, cross reference the tax record, doing all this manually, spending hours to do a direct mail campaign. And, but then the phone started ringing. And next thing you know, I've got lots of inventory and I need more $65 signs, right? Um,
Well,
and then
when it's really easy, like you say, where you're almost feeling so guilty about it, the brain says, "Holy cow, I just spent a little bit of time to generate this revenue." So it makes sense that you would manually want to keep going and do it, right? Versus nowadays. Before we get just a little bit deeper into this, just
yeah,
for people listening, because they may hear the term lease option but have
yeah,
no clue. So I want to kind of give them an idea moving forward.
yeah.
Just real quick, explain what lease options is and how it kind of unfolds for the seller and for yourself.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things I want to point out. Is one, a lease option, the easiest way to explain it is this. If anybody watching this or listening to this has ever leased a car, a Cadillac, BMW, or Mercedes, they actually had a lease option on that car. They were leasing it, but they had the option to buy it, within that lease period. We do the same thing, except instead of a BMW or a Cadillac or Mercedes, we're doing a $400,000, $500,000 house. So it allows the buyer a runway of time to get things in place to buy that house. In the meantime, they're leasing that house with the goal of the intent of getting permanent financing on that. It's also important to note, I don't want to go get too granular here, but there are three different types of lease options. Most educators and gurus out there talk about the sandwich lease option. That's where you're sandwiched between the seller and the buyer. So you're actually making cash flow on a house that you don't own. Uh,
Hmm.
and then there's a straight lease option where you're just maybe you own a home and you're trying to, instead of leasing it, you're going to offer as a lease option. There's no middleman. Maybe you want to buy a house on lease option so you don't have to go to a bank right away. That's a straight lease option, no middleman. What we do, what we specialize in is called the lease option assignment. Some people call it
Hmm.
wholesaling lease option. Um,
Hmm.
so what we're doing is we're like I just got back from meeting with a seller. He and his wife have a house they've been trying to sell for a while. And what we do is we put the numbers together for the lease option. The seller likes it. Yep, let's go. We then put the contract together, and then we package that up. Now we're marketing the lease option to the end buyer. So now we're trying to find that in tenant buyer. Um,
And when you're doing that method or strategy, is that with the sandwich style option?
no, because the sandwich is where I stay in the middle. When we do the assignment, we get paid one time. That's when we assign that contract to the buyer. They're
Hmm.
paying us their option fee of about 5%. That goes to us. Um, uh, but then we don't get any of the cash flow. We assign the contract, we're out of the deal. Now, the truth is that we're actually working with the buyer. We've got credit improvement in place, we have the lender in place. So it's a full system to help that buyer. We're not just saying, well, good luck with all that. We're actually putting them on the path to home ownership. But we're only getting paid one time. That's the assignment fee of about 5%. Yeah.
Okay, because as a wholesaler myself, I understand, moving contracts from one side of the table to the other. And I always look for, methods or ways that we can help a homeowner, but it's still low risk for us, low liability. Maybe, most of the transactions I've ever done, I didn't spend any money doing. So, what do you see mostly? And obviously you teach this, but out of the three, what is the least I guess, um, risk mitigation,
Yeah.
cost mitigation. that someone can kind of go, okay, I see that as a method when I'm talking to homeowners. I got it in my pocket now if it rises. So that way they don't have to maybe do everything you're doing right now, finding lenders, helping with credit, like the whole package
Right.
deal. Maybe walk through that.
Yeah, so the lease option assignment is really the is risk free. The biggest risk I have, Thomas, is if the wind blows really hard and I lose a sign. I lose some chloroplast sign. That's my risk because I'm not making payments. They know I'm not buying the house. They know I'm a marketing company. Uh, I tell sellers I'm Plan B. I'm a marketing company, but here's what we market. So I have nothing at risk. I think lease options are probably the easiest way to get in real estate. In my opinion, way easier than wholesaling. Now, wholesaling, a lot of people start off trying to do wholesaling because it looks sexy. They see all the social media posts and this and that. They have no idea what's actually involved in trying to get the sellers who aren't even sellers. They just happen on a piece of property. How you convert that property owner into a seller, and now you still have to negotiate with them, right? So you've got a couple of hurdles there, and plus these property owners for a wholesaler, everybody's calling them, everybody's sending them direct mail. With
Yep.
us, with us, we have zero competition. I'm in
Mm.
Fort Worth, Texas, here in Tarrant County. This is where I focus. I have no competition. I'm the only game in town that does what we do.
Why
Um,
do you think that is?
Great question. One, um, because nobody teaches my system but me, because we have the entire system down. Yeah, so I'm the only one that teaches it, really. There's other educators that teach lease options, but they really don't teach the lease option assignment because it's not sexy. Thomas, I tell people, if you want to do something in real estate that gets the adrenaline going, the dopamine going, and bam, it's exciting, I'm not your guy because it's just boring. To be honest with you,
Mm.
it's just so simple. It's boring because we have the systems. I tell people if you can copy and paste on a keyboard, you can literally do what I do. I mean, it's just brain dead simple. It's copy paste send, copy paste send. We're not
From a buy,
negotiating.
go ahead.
We don't negotiate with the seller. I'm not. The conversations are totally different than a wholesaler. Um, when a seller calls me, I just find out, what's going on with the property. They still live there? No, yes, whatever. Having a basic, super easy conversation. I tell them what we do. I hit the 4 bullet points. You get full price, no commission, cash flow each month, and our buyers cash you out within 12 months. And then I get their email address, and I literally send them two emails, uh, copy paste, and then talk to them the next day, and they go, "All right, yeah, it looks good. Let's go. All right." So it's really simple conversations. Yeah.
What type of buyer do you work with these types of transaction? How do you find them?
Yep.
Are you obviously there's a lot of education maybe for a buyer or investor wanting to get into real estate. Seems like this might be a easy segue as well for a buyer. Maybe talk about that.
Yeah, so our buyers, so our sellers, let me start with the sellers. Our sellers are investors, they're sellers. I mean, they're trying to sell the house, the investors trying to sell the house. I have agents that reach out to me saying, "Hey, I can't move this house." And so we put the lease option together as another marketing strategy. The
Hmm.
buyers are people that have the money down. They may have some credit issues, but they just want a runway of time. Maybe they're renting a house now, and the lease is coming up in 30 days or 40 days, whatever. They don't have time to go, get all the requirements the lender is going to require, and then go spend 2 or 3 months looking for a house. They got to go. And so with our program, they're able to get in literally within like 24 hours once we get the application. So it's very fast and easy for them. But that's our buyers. Typically, we get a lot of self-employed people that need that runway of time for their taxes. We get people that are, to be honest, with renting but need a little bit of time to get financed. Maybe there's some credit issues, and this just provides a super easy way for them to get into a house. Yeah.
So someone who is looking to purchase in the next 2, 3 years, maybe even sooner. So you said
Yeah.
12 months that
Yeah.
the seller is being cashed out pretty much.
Hmm.
And I assume the buyer's aware of that,
Yep. Yep.
I look at obviously real estate's a relationship based deal. I mean, what happens when your buyer doesn't come through and that's seller you've now got paid, but seller is like, well, obviously he's having cash come in, for that time being, he's still holding on to that deed, just like a car I
Right.
would payment. There's no title there yet. So on the back end, do you ever see a buyer saying, you know what, I'm not interested in actually purchasing this?
It,
And how does that kind
yeah.
of land with your seller?
So over 98% of our buyers buy within 12 months, but that's because we have the systems in place. We've done the vetting ahead of time. So we know they're a good fit based on debt to income and everything. And
Hmm.
because they're going into our program, it's very rare. I had one, this is the first one I've had in a long time that decided not to buy. And it was because they were wonderful people and they took great care of the house. And they let the seller know probably 3 months ahead of time, hey, here's what's going on. It was because they were relocating from wherever, got this house that was on one side of the Metroplex, but over the course of the year, the husband's job had moved to, located like an hour or something away, the whole other side of the Metroplex. And so they really need to be over there. And they saw the writing on the wall. And so they, forfeited their option fee and the money they paid and moved to be, very close to the job. But 98% of our buyers buy within 12 months. And the reason we do 12 months um, is because the seller wants to be cashed out, so it's very attractive to them, and because we want our buyers to buy within 12 months. So, with the credit improvement we have, the lender we have in place, they're going to get financed within 12 months, which is what they want. That's what the seller wants. And the truth is, and this goes against what a lot of people may think, is the longer you do a lease option, the less likely that buyer is going to buy. If you do a 2, 3, 4 year lease option, life
Life
happens.
happens.
Life
Yeah.
happens, and suddenly, and then that option fee the option fee is what they put down, doesn't have the sting it did when they first put it down. So we do a 1 year lease option, keep it short, and let's go. Boom, put them in the house and get them financed.
And do you get paid that assignment fee when the buyer actually closes and purchases, or is there some fee prior to that?
No, so they pay that fee at the time of move in.
Okay.
So and that goes to us.
And it
We
doesn't
get
sound like you're washing your hands still. You seems like you're still communicating, and there's it's not like you're done, set it and forget it. You're
Yeah,
still like, hey, looking at where everything is. Is there any incentive for doing that? Because it seems like you've already done your job. Why continue to stay in that deal other than relationships and future referrals or something like that?
yeah, relationships and really doing the job. If we just find a buyer and say, all right, well, good luck with all that. Well, we haven't really we've done a disservice to the seller and the buyer, right? But when someone comes to us, I get the application. If they need some credit work, I put them in touch immediately with our credit guys. So that started
Yeah.
before they even move in the
So they're being
house.
underwritten as soon as you come in, you're vetting
Yep.
them
Yep.
and and then bringing basically those who can make sense of the deal to move forward. That makes
Yep.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this your primary acquisition strategy?
So, yeah, this is what we do lease options and we do some seller finance as well. Same thing. We're just packaging up seller finance and marketing that. But what we're really known for is the lease option. Yeah.
So you're not taking down these, you're
No,
assigning them.
no, I mean, I've taken some down, sub two and other methods, but because we have this so dialed in, Thomas, uh, it's just the houses come in, we put them to the program, and we just do our thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I
Um,
mean, we're someone who's in a market and apparently you're the only one who's really packaged this method and strategy and actually teaching it. Obviously, people are doing these types of deals, but you've kind of said, "Hey, I've made money doing this. I want to help people doing it." And because you've packaged it up, it would make sense that now people who want to learn this as another notch on their belt, another
yeah.
strategy to convert leads, so to speak, and help homeowners that you kind of got a nice market share. Let's talk about your coaching business because you mentioned that you do have a coaching business. You've been teaching this to your students for 20 plus years now. Um, when you tried to scale your business in 22, because it looked like there was some things that were going on, and some of the stuff, as you mentioned, went sideways. I'm curious, what was the hardest lesson that you've learned from that experience?
Yeah, so that in 22,
And
So
what
scale,
happened?
yeah, so scaling leasing to buy. So keep in mind, I've got the real estate side, I've got the info product, and I've got the coaching, our dream partners. Scaling leasing to buy was is that's easy. It's just sending out more direct mail. That's easy. But on the coaching side, in 2022, I saw the numbers from 21, and it was just it's a small team. It was like me and a few, a sales lady and just a couple of people. And I thought, man, if we brought on, these the big the sales team and this and that and the agency and all that, we could really probably double our numbers. And so went to scale the business, that the coaching business, info product and coaching business, and it was a complete disaster. Um, uh, I mean, we went from on that side, we went from making 100 grand a month consistently to losing about 30 to 40,000 a month when we kicked on that new machine. Uh, and the bottom line is that, in my opinion, agencies suck pond water from a duck's butt. I don't care who it is; they're all horrible. As soon as they get you as a client, this is from the ad and the perspective. As soon as they get you
You're
as a
referring to an actual marketing
marketing
agency.
agency, yeah.
Okay.
As
Yep.
soon as they get you as a client, they're super excited for you. And you think it's going to be great for the first week or two, and then after that, the communication starts to die down. You're not getting the reports because they've moved on to the next victim. They moved on to the next source, right?
They
Um,
pass on their junior rep to you, and
yep.
you're no longer talking to the guy who can get it done.
Yeah. And so one of the mistakes I made trying to scale was I had this little machine that had been in place for a while and was doing very well. Well, as I was building this new machine, with the agency, the ads, and then I brought in a sales manager who hired a sales guy, which was horrible. As this machine was, as all the pieces were in place, well, I had to cut this machine off because now the leads have to go to this machine, right? And that was a massive mistake. I killed the machine that
Mhm.
was working.
Yep.
So, what I would recommend to anybody trying to scale is don't change everything, change one thing. So you've got a little machine working here. Now you want to add a component, add that to this environment, and see how the machine responds to it. Because
Testing.
now you just have one thing to tweak, change, or remove. Say, hey, that didn't work. Let's put that aside. Okay, why didn't it work? Right. Whereas if you change everything, you don't know what you don't always really know exactly what it was, what piece didn't really work. But if you've
Right.
got a little machine going here, add one component, um, see if adjustments need to be made. I didn't do that. I changed everything. I brought on everything new and had to kill this machine, and well, there went 100 grand a month. Um, I ended up firing everybody after about 4 or 5 months. So, do the math on how much I was losing, how much I lost. Uh, oh, that was horrible. But but it taught me, one, that I don't need a sales team. I don't need an agency. I don't need all that stuff. Um, because with an agency, you're typically paying a retainer every month. In my case, it was like 4,000 a month, plus your ad spend, salesman,
Hmm.
all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't need all that. So now, as we're looking to get that little machine up again, I'm doing it very meticulously. I'm bringing on one person at a time to fix this, this thing that was broken. Uh, Not this big retainer, just here's the money, fix that. Then someone else specifically to create the funnels, bap, but doing it very meticulously. And I do all the sales. So if someone wants to talk about our coaching program, they're going to end up on a Zoom call with me, right? Not somebody else. And because nobody knows our program better than me anyway. So yeah, so really, figuring out what pieces need to be in place, adding one at a time, dialing that in, and then building from there. Yeah. So
Well,
that's
growth and scaling, it all sounds really sexy to people. They think, okay, now I'm making 10 grand here, 20 grand here, and they don't realize that the next level has their own problems and issues, and you got to rebuild SOPs and different systems, and you just can't use what you were using to catch that bait. You're going after more. fish in the pond, you need a bigger net. It needs to be strengthened. Who's pulling it in? You need more men to pull it in. And it just seems like, I hear it all the time. People looking to grow and scale, and they just get just destroyed. And like you said, they do it all wrong. They put all their eggs in one basket. And so to
Yep.
hear, a man who's been in the game, over 2 decades, you've seen the ups and downs, and that super valuable. Not trying to just change everything, have diversity in your marketing, your outreach, test, and then put more fuel on the fire once something is producing an ROI.
Right.
Really appreciate that. Super powerful. Um, I want to kind of segue here too, because obviously lease options are one of those things that now, if people never heard about it, they go, okay, I have this light bulb that just went off. You mentioned into the belief that you don't need money to start. I don't know if that's in real estate, just in business and ideas, products, services, whatever. How do you actually advise people to begin this journey without cash?
Yeah. So when I started, I spent $65 on a yard sign. That was it. I was in for 65 bucks. So it wasn't totally no money, but it was pretty close to no money, 65 bucks. But
Sure.
if, but so with my students, um, you know, on the just to give you an idea, on the marketing side, once we've got a software that we have that'll scrape all the for sale by owners and expireds, and they click a button and you just text blast all the for sale by owners in those counties, whatever. So once we get that set up, it's if they're spending 40, 50 bucks a month, that's a lot, um, because it's so inexpensive. I do direct mail, but even there, with the direct mail we do, I'm not sending out. I talked to a gentleman the other day that is wholesaling it and rehabbing, and he was dropping like 40,000 pieces of mail a month. I was like, oh my god. I said I'll drop like 700, 800 pieces maybe, and
Hmm.
I'll get five, six, seven, eight houses.
Well, that's very targeted though, where it
Yeah,
seems like they're kind
exactly.
of they're
They're
hitting the
carpet
whole
bombing. Yeah,
market.
yeah, they're carpet bombing. Whereas I'm laser focused. I'm targeting for my direct mail. I'm targeting listed houses. Houses on the MLS have been listed over 30 days. Boom, mail piece. But you got to be consistent with that. Every 4 or 5 weeks. Boom, 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 boom. But um, if I was if I didn't have 800 bucks to do direct mail, 800 bucks for 3 4 months, because you want to be consistent about it. I would actually um, subscribe. I'd spend, I think it's $70 a month for a lead source that we use that'll put on your dashboard. You log in for sub owner leads every day, expired leads every day, and they skip trace them. And if you don't have a texting platform, well, guess what? Now you're calling, right? Or you texting from your phone, right? But that's what I would do if I was starting off with very limited resources. Is subscribe for 70 bucks a month to that source, and just either put them into a text blaster, texting platform, or worst case, call them. I don't teach cold calling. I don't cold call people. I don't do any of that. But if you're starting off with very limited resources, either text them or start calling them. Yeah.
Yeah, when I got first started in wholesaling, I had a gentleman who kind of took me under his wing. He's like, "Look, let me show you. You don't got all this money to start with." He's like, let me just help you out here. And so he taught me how to find the list. We would pull the list of owners we were looking for, and then we hand wrote notes and we would mail out. It was, so we bought stamps was the expense, some
Yep.
letters.
Yep.
And my wife and I would spend hours after when, kids were done sleeping, and we would just write the letters by hand and
Yep.
sent them off. We started bandit signs. I ended up getting on buses. I ended up having driving bandit signs. So we would get people to allow us to put our advertising on their windshield, and then they would get paid. So we started off with like this really just easy, it took a lot of energy and time, not a lot of money. Um, In my first year, I ended up doing 37 transactions, complete wholesale, and I didn't have one seller that I spoke with. I literally leveraged other wholesalers. So I did JV,
Yeah.
and that's how I got started. And then we did six figures that first year, reinvested into marketing, started with the direct mail and tripled our business. And it just kept growing. And I ran into my ceilings just like you have and try to figure out, all right, here we are. We want to do more. Some people want to do more. For me, it's having, it's not about more. I like more money with less work, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody. And so trying to figure out that model, which always isn't easy, but trying to scale and grow, it's a growing pain to say the least for anyone. And it sounds like you've really went through that. Now you've kind of scaled it down, made it more simple for yourself, for your team, and less
Yeah.
stress, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do
Yeah.
we just less stress, man? Life is short. We don't need to be chasing the dollar. I'm sure you have other things that you're passionate about. So what a great lesson there. Um, you talk about choosing three important tasks each day. And I want to touch on this before we kind of segue into some of the processes systems. And I do have a question about kind of the average um response and kind of closing on 700, 800 pieces because that does seem light. But obviously, for most people I talk to when they try to grow, scale, I ask what's their day-to-day process from when they wake up to when they're done from a mental standpoint, spiritual, physical feeding, spiritual feed, all these things that tie into just this human experience we're having. Um, what what are three important tasks each day? What's your process for deciding, what's signal or noise out here? 20
Yeah.
plus years. I'm sure you've been able to now start to decipher through all that so you can stay focused.
Yeah. So, well, for me, uh, physical health is huge. So I hit the gym almost every day. It clears it's my space, my time, and the gym kind of gets the headspace right, for the
Hmm.
day. Also, as I write out, every day I take a piece of notebook paper. This is from a couple of days. I write out, things to do, but then I highlight, okay, well, all this stuff, it would need to be done, but what's the most important thing? Whatever that is. Maybe it's I've got a stack of sellers to call back that I've sent numbers to. Maybe it's getting information to my VA so she can post properties. What are those top two or three things to do? That's the signal. Everything else is noise. Um, and Kevin O'Leary talks about this the signal to noise ratio. He talks about Elon Musk has almost no noise. He's total signal. So when and this is really important if someone's, especially for those starting off with any business, not just real estate. When you're starting off with a business, and I've seen this a lot with previous students before, um, where because we're giving them everything. There's nothing to hold back. But yet, I get some of those students where a week, 2 weeks later, they're, you know, trying to have a logo designed. I'm like, you don't, I just gave you our affiliate logo. You don't need a logo. Nobody gives a crap about your logo. Let's go.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's easy to get caught up in the noise starting off because you feel like you're busy. You're busy, but you're not really accomplishing anything that's going to move the needle. So what's going to move the needle? uh, I had a guy there a few weeks ago that he'd got my course. Yeah, he'd gotten my course at some point, a while back, and somehow we reconnected. And he said that he was uh, learning, trying to build a website. That's what it was. He was looking at my website, leasingtobuy.com, trying to build his own website. He's, I'm not an HTML coder. ChatGPT has helped a lot. But, I've been spending hours on this, trying to get this website. And keep on, that's when he one of my students. And I said, what are you doing? Nobody gives a crap about your website. How many sellers have you talked to? What kind of marketing are you doing? You're
Hmm.
fuddling around over here trying to build a website. And that's not even you don't even know how. You're just procrastinating is what you're doing. And and I think it's easy to do starting off is doing something that's
Well,
tone deaf.
they're afraid getting on that damn phone.
Yeah,
It's what
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
they feel like they put it at the bottom and they feel like I'm being productive by doing all these low level tasks. But like you
yeah.
said, it's not getting the needle moving at all. But they feel good about it, but it's not helping their bank, right?
It's not moving the needle. And even when someone comes on board as a coaching student, uh, they come on board. We get them all set up on their systems within 24 hours. Then I get on a Zoom call with them, and as I'm showing them the training platform, I'm specifically saying, yeah, you see all this stuff over here? Yeah, ignore it. Ignore it. You don't pay attention to that. It's not going to move the needle. I want you to do this, 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 and this, this is this, and that's it. Boom. Because then within 3 days, we have their marketing set up. And so it's go time, you know? So I tell them, you know, there's a whole lot of information back there, you know, that I'm showing them. Don't even look at it. Don't even look at it. Just do these tasks right here and on to the next step. Yeah.
Well, it seems like you have some really good systems and processes in place, and you've fine-tuned those over the years,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you got a really well-lubed machine. Things are changing though, with the emergence of AI technology. I want to kind of talk about that. Obviously, I own an AI agency. We help real estate professionals. We specialize in AI agents. These are essentially employees that handle all those low level tasks that just eat up an operator's day, right? But AI is so still new. People have no idea what it is, how they can leverage it to become more efficient, productive. I'm curious for you, you've recently started using AI for funnels and content. Talk a little bit about that and then kind of what you see happening in the next, 12 months with AI in general and then in your operation as well.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that there's so much AI is changing so much so quickly that my eyes just glaze over, right? Well, what does you don't know what you don't know, right? So so I couldn't so like on the real estate side because it's so dialed in. There's I mean it's so simple. There's really I don't foresee using AI in the real estate side just because it's literally clicking a button, sending a direct mail, and the phone rings. And I have super quick, easy conversations, copy, paste, done. So on that side, not a lot. We're just at the very beginning of using AI. Excuse me, is on as we're rebuilding the marketing and everything for the coaching side, where with these funnels, split testing funnels and using AI. When I say using, it's I'm not using it. It's the professional using it that's saying, okay, here's what we're doing with AI. We're going to be taking this copy, put it into AI, get your uh, your lingo down, your personality down, and to build into these funnels. And they can do it so much quicker and have such a quicker feedback time, on that. But that's really for on the coaching side, on the marketing side, from a funnel perspective. Yeah, but we're just, I mean, literally just beginning to take that step. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's super new. I mean, while AI has been around for many, many years, the first chatbot was actually invented in the 60s. And a lot of people don't know that. It was a
Wow.
simple chatbot based off a psychologist. It would simply listen and then ask another, well, what makes you feel that way? Or, it just kept asking whatever they would say, the chatbot would put on front of it, or well, why or what? And
Yeah, yeah,
um, but it's been around for a while, but we can all agree because of things like NVIDIA and chips and the technology, it's now gotten to a point where, over the last 2.5 years with the emergence of OpenAI, ChatGPT, people, they think, well, that's AI, right? You have Siri, Alexa.
yeah,
That's people are starting to slowly even forget that that's AI, right? But it literally is. And so what we've noticed, John, even for small operators, when they, especially if they're spending money on advertising like you're doing, it sounds like these calls are coming into you. But, there's times where you're probably off doing something, you're unavailable. So it may go to even a VA or call center, or it just goes to voicemail. And so what we've seen on the real estate side is how AI is actually able to help capture all of those leads,
yeah,
and that builds that trust. Speed to lead is everything, whether it's a call, We use voice and conversational AI, and we've seen not only in our own company but with our clients a 20 to 30% boost in conversions, and they get better return on their ad spend, and their CAC is going down, so they don't need as much, right? So
Yeah.
having AI, I think moving forward in real estate, I mean, I run my real estate business, and I know you probably like, yeah, right. But I literally have like 8 to 10 agents right now that run the business for all those low level hanging tasks, content creation, which seems you're using quite
Yeah.
a bit. But we're seeing it being used for answering calls.
Yeah.
It's answering inquiries via voice and texting. It's qualifying them. It's doing warm transfers, scheduling appointments. It's doing all the
Yeah.
follow-ups, and the AI is living within those automations. And so it's just an amazing tool right now. And so I encourage you or anyone who's out there, especially if you're a smaller team, to start investigating, because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's what I do too, is I educate people on what's real, what's being used now that they could capture. And of course, it's going to grow exponentially, as we all know. But to use it for recruiting, it's just going to be so mind blowing. I don't even know where the future is going to be. Um, Let me ask you this, because you were like old school, writing stuff, sending cards, just knocking on doors. What would your business look like, if you didn't adopt, technology as it does grow? Do you think that you're going to be able to continue with the results or even grow? Or do you think you're going to have a hard time battling, other people moving into this space who are using AI, who can use 4 or 5,000 text messages in a month and having conversations and really just opening up that pipeline so you can focus on negotiating?
Yeah. On the real estate side, um, where on the real estate side with the technology, with what we're using now, it is really brain dead simple and not a lot of moving parts, at all, really, to be honest with you. Um, on the info product and coaching side, now that's different because because as we're just now rebuilding, some of that infrastructure and doing it methodically, that's where technology comes in. Like I said, copying my voice, my personality, creating that content, creating the content videos, where I won't have to be creating the content videos, recording, multiple hours of video. AI can do that, right? And use my voice. And
And what type of software like are you using for that? Because there's a lot of new companies coming out that allow you to film yourself and then it creates the content. Just for someone out there who might be looking at something
yeah,
similar, what are you guys using?
and so again, we're just on the very beginning of this. Like when I say just beginning,
Gotcha.
in the last couple of weeks. So
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I just know that this is coming up. I know that as we start to implement this and this, okay, now it's gonna be okay. Now let's bring in the AI and let's do, with the funnels. Okay, AI with the content, AI with the video content, right? So I couldn't tell you what platforms we'll be using.
No
Uh,
worries.
but
Okay.
because we're so fresh into it, ask me in about 2 months, and I'll say, "Oh man, Thomas, we use, my people use this and this and this, and here's what they're doing." But I've got friends that are in the coaching space, and other friends out there, running their businesses. I see their content videos. It's AI. It's not even them. Uh, and
And I think there's I mean, we're all seeing it. Our social media feeds are being bombarded by all these, generated videos
yeah,
of AI, and I'll be honest, I love it, but it's just it's pointless now. When I see it, I'm just like, no, 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 no. I think over what I see is obvious. I like to use AI for the and how it helps me internally with process and saving time and
yeah, yeah,
overhead.
yeah.
My AI agents replace VAs, call centers. That can get really expensive for an owner. And now you have a whole team of agents that are working your company 24/7. You don't have to hire, and find new people every year or two. You don't have to keep them motivated. They work 24/7. And when I see like all the content creation, which is fun, I think it's a shiny object and it's really a distraction for a lot of business owners, but it's super fun, right? Like, when was the last time we were able to tell a machine, hey, imagine me surfing on a huge wave in Hawaii and it can produce it and it looks like you. I mean, it's fun. I get it. But it's definitely one of those things that I think where authenticity over the next 12 months and moving beyond is going to really start coming back in. That human element is going to play well with the AI to the point where it's like relationship building again is going to be important. So a lot of people think AI is going to separate from humans. And I just see it's going to be a great tool that works together with us. But overall, once again, I like it for its ability to save me time and help internally. So that way I can grow ideas, spark, things of that nature, content creation in that text, copy, photos, images, that's all gravy. And I do love the fact that you're getting into that, especially as a content creator with your courses and being teaching students. It takes a lot of time, energy, and money getting in that studio, recording that. But
Yeah.
now you go on camera, say something, some perpetual babble of nothing for 2 minutes, and then the AI uses all of that to create the content. It's just
Yeah.
mind blowing. That's awesome. Just real quick, and we're all, I don't know, we got probably another 5-10 minutes here. I want to circle back to the course because that's one of those things I've invested in so much money in trying to learn and better myself and educate myself, and it's paid in dividends. The ROI on the education has been through the roof because of how I've been able to take that information and then convert deals with it. Um, why don't you just share briefly exactly what you teach
Yep.
in these courses? What can be expected? I don't know if there's a cost or anything like that you're willing to share now. If not, we can
Yeah.
just have them talk with you if they're interested. But, help us understand what exactly you're teaching and how that works.
Yeah, so I'll start off. You can see the books behind me here. Um, if someone wants to learn about lease options, the I would highly recommend just going to Amazon, or actually, you know what, you can go to Amazon, or you can literally go to theleaseoptionbook.com. Theleaseoptionbook.com is it's obviously I wrote it, but within this book, it's really step by step of what I do. And within this book, there are QR codes. So you read about a topic, and there's a QR code at the end of the chapter. You scan that, and it leads you to training videos or additional resources to learn about that particular
Smart.
topic. Like I've got a chapter in here about Texas lease options right there. Just turn to Texas lease options because I'm the only educator that teaches lease options in Texas. Um, Other educators come to me to learn, so do attorneys. But you read about Texas lease options, and at the end of the chapter is a QR code that takes you to a training video where I'm talking about Texas lease options. So the leaseoptionbook.com, a lot of great resources in there, QR codes. Within that, at the end, there's a QR code to about the course. The course has it's all online, obviously. It's all online, has step-by-step training videos, very easy. It has all your contracts, documents, everything I literally use every day is within that. And then there's also a QR code if you want to learn about the coaching. So we've got the book, the leaseoptionbook.com, full of great information. That's a great place if you're, if you're not even to step one yet, to really dive into lease options and learn what we do. And then we've got the course. It's it's 997 because if it was 998, nobody would buy it. But that 997 course has again step by step training, videos, all the documents, everything you would
And
need
I
to be.
assume it's like a work on your own schedule,
Yeah,
pacing.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And what can someone expect once they're done with the course? I mean, is this like you give them the keys to the castle, and do they have you for support? Is there a
Well,
group or community as well?
yes, with the course, obviously, if anybody had a question, they could. My phone number is everywhere. My email is everywhere. And I answer all questions that come in. But it doesn't come with a group or any really coaching, if you will, for that matter. But so after the course, it's up to them to to take action on what they've learned now. Starting with the marketing, right? Marketing for sellers, you know, marketing for buyers. So they really have to take action. But then we have what we call our Dream Partner Program, Thomas, and this is where we take it to a whole other level. This is almost like a franchise. It's almost like a license agreement where when someone comes on board, they don't have to go get anything. They don't have to create anything. A lot of coaching, especially in the real estate space, but a lot of coaching. You may have, a once a week Zoom call with 400 people on it, right? And maybe some good information. But when you get off that Zoom call, you're like, that was interesting, but I still don't have a business yet, right? So we've kind of reversed that model where we say, here's the business. Now we're going to coach you on it, teach you how to work these very simple systems. So imagine, like, if you wanted to have a hamburger restaurant, Thomas. Well, now you got to find retail space. Now you got to find the kitchen equipment. You got to find your vendors and all this stuff. And you haven't even opened the doors yet. Or if someone just gave you McDonald's, you don't have to know a damn thing about hamburgers. Just here you go. Here's the system.
It's the blueprint.
Yeah, boom. And that's what the Dream Partner program is boom, here we go. And so when someone comes on board with us, within 24 hours, boom, we're onboarding them. Within about 3 days later, marketing is up and running. And so when they come to our Dream Partner program, most people by week 3 have properties on our website, leasing to buy. I brought someone on last week. Tomorrow will be a week, and he just started, so 6 days ago. And this whole weekend, I think he sent me 8 or 9 what we call price sheets. This is what we're sending to sellers, saying, "Hey, here's the numbers." And he just started, and he's already sending out, I think it was 8 or 9 price sheets. So he's gonna do great. But again, when you have the systems, that's where you shine. The book Atomic Habit, it was a great book. Says you don't
James
rise.
Cleary.
James Cleary, yep. He says you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So with the Dream Partner program, we're giving them the system, saying, "It's all right, it's go time. Here we go." And watch these training videos. After that, it's OJT, baby, on the job training, because we got to go. Let's go. But
So
there's a
you
lot.
gotta, yeah. So it seems like you have a handful of different ways in which people can get started. Really, no excuse, especially if there's someone looking to grow their skill set and get better at converting leads, helping people, and listening to owners, and then they go, "Wow, this is going to be perfect for a lease option," and then being able to articulate that to them in a way that serves them and helps them. And your courses, your book teaches that whole strategy.
Yep.
I assume there's scripts, and you're not gonna, take someone's money and then say, "All right, here you go." It seems like you really follow up, and build a community that's also, going to help these people that have joined, which is great. I learned novations from the king of novations, Mr. Eric Brewer. Not sure if
Eric
you know who
Brewer,
he
yeah,
is.
Eric Brewer,
A
yeah.
good buddy of mine. I made so much money off of novations, sub twos. Um, I learned land acquisitions from Cody Bugan on how to entitle land, like all these things that you learn, and it just produces an ROI. So lease options, I know I'm going to start diving into this. Maybe you and I could chat,
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
call. I also have ringing bells here with ideas of how we might be able to serve you and the
yeah.
students moving forward. But I really, really enjoyed the whole conversation. If it was up to me, I'd spend hours with you, and I'm sure you don't have that time. Holidays are at our doorsteps, and I know you got to get rolling here. I do with all of my guests, I do a fun round. It's called our lightning round.
Okay.
I ask one question and you answer it, and we just rip through it. All right, you ready?
I didn't study for this. All right.
That's the whole fun part.
All right. All right.
All right. What's one tool that you can't live without?
One tool I cannot live without has, uh, I gotta say it's, well, one tool I can't live without. I gotta say Facebook, only because we do marketing on there. Marketing on there. Yeah, and I got my VA that does all that stuff. So that's a huge tool for us, is the social media presence. Yeah.
What's the favorite part of your job?
Favorite part is actually interacting with the sellers and the buyers, hearing the happiness of the seller when we've got them a buyer, and hearing the happiness and the joy of the buyers when they know that this is actually happening. It's really 22 years later, and I still love that. Yeah.
What's your least favorite part of the
Ooh,
job?
my least favorite part uh, has got to be to be honest, the piddly admin stuff that I still have to dive into. Yeah.
Well, I think I know the answer here, but I'm gonna ask you: cold calling or door knocking?
Ooh. Well, I don't do either, but if it uh, if it were me, for time's sakes, I would cold call just for efficiency of time.
Best closing gift you've ever given or received?
Hmm. Let's see. I got some Omaha steaks from a seller.
Nice.
That was pretty nice. Yeah. Uh, and best closing gift. I gave. I think I gave a buyer a Home Depot gift cards. I know it's not big, but uh, I knew they were going to be able to use it. So yeah, I know it's not fascinating, but not as good as Omaha steaks.
Hey, anything helps, you know. All right. Well, that's what I got for you, Mr. John Jackson. For those that would love to connect with you, you mentioned a website, you
Yep.
mentioned books. Where can people connect with you?
Yep.
Whether it's a website, just where can they connect, brother?
Yeah, so we already talked about the leaseoptionbook.com. I've got information on there. There's QR codes in there as well that you can connect with me. If you want to learn more about the training, the course, our course, I'm sorry, that website is leaseoptionclasses.com, leaseoptionclasses.com. And you can go there, some free videos, some free stuff that I give away there, and my information's on there as well. Um,
And I
Actually,
assume you're active on socials and things like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And if I'm very approachable, I'll get calls or emails from people I have no idea who they are, or DMs or whatever. I'm hop on a call with them and answer their questions or anything I can to help. So I'm very approachable, very available. Maybe to a fault, but yeah, I would go to leaseoptionclasses.com just to get you got some free training on there. My information's on there as well. That's probably the best, easiest way to track me down. If if anybody watching or listening, if you just Google King of Lease Options, I'm all over. Here's all these videos of me and everything. But yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. The king of lease options. You saw it here on Stellar Minds. And if you're an entrepreneur or a real estate professional with an amazing story, journey, or a strategy that you'd like to share that could bring value, you can reach out to me at Thomas at stellaraisolutions.com, or you can find us on social media as well at Stellar AI Solutions. If you enjoyed this video, if there was value you could took from it, please like, subscribe, and share. And we hope you have a blessed day. And until next time, have a stellar day. Take care, guys. Bye bye.